MRO activities of the Air Force. Next, we have Mr. Rajiv Chakraborty. Rajiv, will you please raise your hand so that people can recognize you? Okay. He is the CEO, well, former CEO of, and senior general manager of Gun Shell Factory in Kolkata, one of the oldest, in fact, it is the oldest, ordnance factory in the country. And he has tremendous amount of experience in dealing with the MSMEs, in outsourcing work to them as far as production of equipment is concerned for the armed forces. We have Mr. Das, Harihar Das, yeah, he's here. He's the Deputy General Manager of GRSC, Garden Reach Shipbuilding Enterprise, which has been involved in production of warships and other seagoing and coastal vessels, not only for the Indian Navy, but also for Coast Guard and other civil uses. So he is going to enlighten us on his domain about shipbuilding, etc., and the involvement and opportunities for the MSMEs in this sector. Mr. Srivastav, of course, is the former CEO. Okay, he is of Bangalore complex of the HAL. HAL is the largest aviation sector industry in the country, which supports the Indian Air Force's requirements, Indian Navy's requirements, and Indian Army's requirements, even Coast Guard's requirement in terms of aviation. So he had just retired from his last appointment, and he is going to give us a lot of valuable information about the MSMEs who have been successful in participating in manufacture of components, of various components and servicing and MRO of the weapon platforms like aircraft and others, which is dealt with by HAL. HAL Bangalore complex is perhaps the largest aviation sector complex or the DPSUs amongst the DPSUs. So you know that HAL Bangalore complex sort of looks after the overall of Mirages, license production of Jaguars and its maintenance. It is also manufacturing the latest combat aircraft, indigenous combat aircraft, LCA Tejas, and a host of other things. Then we'll come to the civil aviation sector, wherein we have two important panelists. Sri Jagannath, he is here with us. He is the CEO of AIESL, Air India Engineering Services Limited. He is a top man in terms of maintenance, repair, overall facilities of civil aircraft. The civil aviation sector is growing exponentially, and with the bulging middle class and large number of passengers, activation of various middle-tier cities and airfields all across the country, the number of aircraft that you're going to induct in the next few years are going to be in hundreds and thousands. So obviously you fly more, you'll have to maintain those machines, and that's where the MROs will get involved. MRO activities will be involved and will obviously require outsourcing to the MSMEs who would be part of this hub or the ecosystem for civil aviation as well. We have Sri S.K. Dash, okay, right. So Senior Vice President of Vistara. Vistara is one of the civil airlines operating in India. He is going to tell us about the challenges that they face in civil aviation sector in terms of engineering and maintenance activities. We are missing Mr. Pulak Sen, who is the General Secretary of MRO Association of India. He is not well. So these are the 7 speakers who are going to delve into the opportunities for MSMEs in defense production and MRO facilities, as well as civil aviation sector and MRO facilities or requirements. So the modalities are going to be, we will have about 7 to 8 minutes per participants or panelists here. I'll be initiating the discussion, and then they'll speak about their domain for next 7 to 8 minutes with about 8 speakers in total. And then, if we have some time, we'll open the House for discussions on various issues. The audience will be entertained to ask questions and queries, for which answers and clarifications will be given by the panelists here. So our focus is going to be for all the panelists here. We're going to speak. Opportunities for MSMEs, one. Success stories of MSMEs in their domain. What is the potential? And not only opportunities, but also the challenges in MRO activities for defense sector as well as civil aviation sector. I'll now request General Chakraborty to start the discussion. He, as I said, is an expert on various facets of defense production, Make in India policy of the government, then the updation of various policies like defense procurement policy and things like that, the opportunities that exist, what sort of challenges that you will face as MSMEs to get into the defense sector, and how are you going to succeed in this field. So I'll start with General Chakraborty.
Honorable Chairman Air Chief Marshal Arup Raha, esteemed co-panelists, ladies and gentlemen. The year was 1992. I was a young major and the company commander in the Siachen Glacier. It was a very challenging post. The altitude was about 19,000 feet. And the recorded temperature was about minus 45 degrees. And with the wind chill effect, going to minus 65 degrees. Our post was, on a thin knife edge, and it was partially visible to the enemy. So helicopters could not come and land in our post. So for picking up our rations, we had to go down the ice wall and then go to the next post. The ice wall is of the variety, all those who have seen Game of Thrones, is of that variety. And because of the narrowness of the valley and very restricted place where the helicopters could land, only the smallest helicopter of that time, that was a Cheetah, which could land. Due to altitude and very, very, low levels of oxygen at that altitude and various other factors, the load carrying capacity of the helicopter was extremely restricted. And in its first sortie, when it had full load of fuel, you won't believe what it could carry. It was either one man without his battle load, or his battle load, or one jerrycan of kerosene oil. And now, the helicopter, as I mentioned, was Cheetah, which was nothing but a French Alouette. And at that time, as a young officer, I used to think, whereas the Indian Army is serving a major part of it in the high altitude and super high altitude areas, why is it that we don't have equipment which can serve us? And ladies and gentlemen, this is where indigenization and the private industry comes in. The operational terrains of Indian Armed Forces is unique. Nowhere else in the world you will find this terrain. And therefore, we got to find that equipment which suits us. We are end users as soldiers, we must have that equipment. And not buy something which somebody else is selling to us, which is fit for them. India has therefore been guided, and rightly, by the principle of strategic autonomy and self-reliance through sustained defense capability building. Over the last few years, the country has achieved capability in building various types of systems. And in the land systems, we have gone in for tanks, for artillery equipment, for mine-protected vehicles, and so on. And similar capabilities have been developed for the Air Force and the Navy too. Consequently, the value of production of the DPSUs have gone up. In 2016-17, it was the tune of 40,000 crores. And 2018-19, provisionally, the figure is about 45,011 crores. But the value of production of the ordnance factories have shown marginal decline. And this is because 275 items which were earlier to be produced by ordnance factories have been given for open manufacture. So therefore, the decline in the ordnance factories manufacture would have added up to the private industry's manufacturing capability. Vision 2022-23 for DPSUs provide further opportunities for private industries and MSMEs through 3 challenges. And the first challenge is 25% of annual turnover of respective DPSUs should be from export. Defense export has been a focus area of the government, and it has increased substantially from rupees 1,521 crores in 2016-17 to more than 10,000 crores in 2018-19. The second challenge is import substitution through indigenization, amounting to rupees 15,000 crores. And the third challenge is develop a roadmap for AI, artificial intelligence, AI-based technology for their platforms and equipment. A little more about this later. Next, I'll talk about creating a startup ecosystem to engage private industries, MSMEs, startups, and individual innovators in fostering innovation and technology development. Innovation for Defense Excellence, IDEX, has been formed. It will provide funding and other support for R&D. Under this IDEX scheme, Defense India Startup Challenge, DISC, has been organized. DISC comprises of real-life problems which the forces or the DPSUs or the OFB throw up to the startup community for them to respond. This has encouraged the startup community, and 15 challenges have been identified and 636 responses have been received from the startups. Defense AI-based capabilities. Based on the report of the task force chaired by Sri N. Chandrasekaran, Chairman Tata Sons, Defense AI Council and Defense AI Project Agency, DAIPA, have been formed. Additionally, rupees 100 crore each year has to be earmarked by e-services for AI-based project. And the OFB and DPSUs have also got to produce AI-based products. For example, the OFB's project is drone-assisted mine-protected vehicles. There are many other initiatives which the Ministry of Defense has taken to promote indigenization. The first is revised make-to procedure to enable greater participation of the industry. The second is suo motu proposal. This is an interesting one. In this, the industry has to make proposals to services for their use. This is important for new technology and new products being developed by the startup and the industry. Till December 31st, 2018, 4 proposals have already been given AIP and 41 are under consideration. The industry in licensing has been streamlined. FDI 49 has been permitted under the automatic route and above 49% when it is going to result in better technology or some other reasons to be recorded. Defense Investor Cell has been formed to directly interact with the interested investors. Facilities for third-party inspection has been made. Then there is the development of indigenous industry ecosystem for SDR. SDR is software-defined radio. SDR is a basic equipment which will replace all the traditional radio systems of the forces. This is a huge opportunity for all those who have expertise in this field. Next is the promotion of defense, domestic manufacture. 111 items have been identified for which the DPSUs and OFB have been told that they will procure this only from domestic manufacturers and not from export. To sum up, indigenization or make in India is not manufactured in India. Make in India has a full system which can be broadly divided into 5 pillars. The first is technology. The second pillar is design, IPV, and similar related issues. Third is the manufacture ecosystem, which involves large OEMs as also MSMEs to support them. Fourth is certification and testing. And fifth, because defense equipment has a long shelf life, therefore, their sustenance and logistics, including operational logistics. In each of these 5 fields, the MSMEs have a large role to play, provided they fit into that. Thank you.
Thank you, Aniruddha, for your inputs on the government policies and the initiatives being taken for indigenization effort of the nation and the role of MSMEs in this, their opportunities. Now the next panelist is Air Marshal Samir Borade. He is sitting on my left. Samir, I just want to give a brief introduction to what I wanted to speak on. He was the Air Officer Commanding of an important MRO facility of the Air Force in Ozar, Nasik, where MiG-29 aircraft upgrade was taking place. Upgrading a state-of-the-art fighter aircraft is a very big challenge. So he was the boss there, and thereafter, during his tenure, the Sukhoi 30 overall was also being undertaken. So he had set up all the facilities with a lot of help from the Ozar HAL division. So these 2 important activities he has overseen. And I have seen there, Samir, that a lot of MSMEs are working shoulder to shoulder, hand in hand with the Air Force personnel, similarly with the HAL as well, within their complex, making use of the facilities and the infrastructure to carry out part tasks. So a lot of outsourcing take place in this direction where MSMEs get involved. They have become a part and parcel of MRO activities of the Air Force. Samir, I would request you to highlight these aspects during your address. You want to speak from here? You can do so, or you can, okay.
Air Chief Marshal Arup Raha, all the fellow panelists, ladies and gentlemen, it's indeed a great honor and pleasure to be here amongst all of you on future of manufacturing and MSME opportunities and challenges. In specific, opportunities for MSMEs in defense sector and Indian aviation sector. With a brief background given by the Air Chief, and on whose request I had no other choice but to come. He was my commanding officer when he used to fly the aircraft, and I was his engineering officer then as a young officer. And as told by him, my previous appointment, I was commanding Air Force Base Repair Depot, which is undertaking overall of the modern fighter aircraft of Indian Air Force. As we go through the presentation, I'll keep explaining it to you how MSMEs can play a role in that. Before that, I'll give a brief introduction. You're all aware of the Indian Air Force, which is the 4th largest air force of the world. We are operating multiple types of aircraft, that is fighters, transport, helicopters, and remotely piloted vehicles, commonly known as UAVs. Air defense weapons, guided weapons, radars, communication systems, specialist vehicles, and associated equipment. These weapon systems are of different origin, that is Western, Russian, and now also indigenous manufacture. You can all understand maintenance of this wide variety of equipment and weapon platforms is a big challenge for us. To meet this challenge, the IF has a well-established 4th level of depot level maintenance, as we call it, at our base repair depots, which are spread all across the country. So we are also the biggest MRO for the aviation field in India. Over the last many years, we have achieved expertise in undertaking MRO activities for many aircraft systems and established state-of-the-art repair facility and world-class infrastructure. Simultaneously, with thrust on indigenization, we have achieved nearly 100% of self-reliance on our various operational fleets such as MiG-29 fighters, helicopters, and AN-32 transport aircraft. This was achieved through partnership with MSMEs for production of spares, indigenization of test and ground equipment. Besides having our own capabilities, the IF has also been involving the private sector in MRO activities of the aircraft. To cite few examples, we have engaged with private industry partners for part of overall process and upgrade activities of AN-32, MiG-29, Sukhoi 30, and Mi-17 helicopters. With increasing requirements, there are many such areas where the Indian aerospace industry has huge opportunities in MRO for the Indian Air Force to undertake part tasking of overall activities, modifications, and upgrades. I'll just go through the presentation. I'll give you a brief introduction on the base repair depots which are there, the MRO opportunities which are there existing in the BRDs, what indigenization and projects. NTC is the nodal technological centers which are associated with the BRDs. The base repair depots are undertaking overall repair of aircraft and various role equipment. Role equipment is basically the equipment which launches the weapons, that is either missiles or bombs. Guided weapons, that is surface-to-air weapons. Aero engines, communication and radar equipment. We also undertake a lot of life extension studies and indigenization and obsolescence mitigation. These are the base repair depots undertaking repair and overall of various equipment. I've listed them down for your convenience and their location as well. So we are spread all across the country. Now, what are the opportunities at BRDs, that is the base repair depots? Just to give you an overview, because a lot of people may not be aware of what happens during an aircraft overhaul or a main equipment overhaul. The aircraft is first accepted. When I say aircraft, it could be anything else other than the aircraft also. It could be a communication equipment, it could be radars, it could be a missile launcher. So it's first dismantled. Then you start the overall process. There are certain special tasks which may be required to be performed during that. When the aircraft is dismantled, there are thousands of parts which come out from that aircraft. Some of them have to be thrown away. We call it them mandatory spares, which we need to put it back. Apart from that, there are various rotables or aggregates. For example, fuel pumps, hydraulic actuators, radars, communication system which come out from the aircraft. They go for their overhaul to different sections where again they are stripped open. Everything is reassembled back with change of mandatory spares, and simultaneously there is recycling of certain general spares also which takes place. And finally, everything is put together in the form of assembly. Then we